Hey fellow Star citizens, Scrapchat here. So 3.18.2 just dropped a few minutes ago, and of course I had to get in there and see both how good it is and how bad it is. Alright, let's get started. I went ahead and did my usual, let's just go with the default dude. And I chose Orison as my starting point since I knew I would buy some of the upgrades for my beloved Vanguard Harbinger at Cousin Crew's. I wake up in my usual green circle apartment and turn on the game stats just to see how the FPS is doing. I checked my starting money, hoping they would start us out with a cool million, which would be more than enough to get my upgrades taken care of, but no. This is the money I started out with from the last time I was in the Persistent Universe. As it turns out, there was no second wipe. Even my rep carried over. Looks like the extent of the wipe was losing all in-game purchased items and having your ships reset. Well, okay. So my first stop was to the Providence platform. Although I have close to no money, I wanted to at least pick up a pair of JS400 power plants for the Harbinger and a tractor beam. FPS is so-so. I think for Orison is decent enough. I catch the shuttle over to Providence. At least the trains are running, that's a good sign. I run over to Cousin Crow's and pick up the power plants. Can't install them yet though. We'll need to do that after I retrieve the ship. The surplus store was another story, unfortunately. It apparently isn't there. Now I head on over to the spaceport. So far my experience is pretty okay, with the exception of the surplus store. I get to the spaceport and holy cow, there's a line at the ASOP terminals. Well, at least they're all working. I retrieve my ship and pick up a few things to take with me to my new home, Hurston. Make sure to install the new power plants. And head on up to Port Olisar. So far everything is feeling really good. This is the emptiest I've seen Port Olisar in months. I guess that's what happens when you're the first one on. Head on over to live fire weapons to get some ammo and food. Purchasing is working well. Move on down to Dumper's Depot to pick up the new repeaters at the Harbinger. And here's where things started going south fast for me. Purchasing the guns was not a problem. Being able to use the vehicle loadout manager, however, was. I ended up having to exit to menus and come back in hoping for a different server to get it to work, which it did.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
Starting to see issues retrieving ships now.
Vehicle selected. Stand.
Eventually it showed up, and all was right in the world. I was desperate for a reasonable scope and suppressor, so I headed on over to Crew L1. I knew it would only be there long enough to make some purchases, so I landed on a pad. Elevator's not working, of course. I landed at one of the hangars, and thankfully the elevators there are working. Storing your ship isn't working as well as it did when I was at Port Alsar, which doesn't thrill me. Figured I'd go down to the refinery and buy a tractor beam.
Hey, back again, I see.
The sales terminal, of course, is on the fritz. I do finally manage to get the multi-tool, just no tractor beam attachment. Head on over to the live fire to get my scope and suppressor. Only to find out their terminals aren't working either. Looks like inventory is down. So I go back to menus and come back in on one of my buddy's servers, hoping it would not be the one I was just on. Probably is. Looks like inventory is not working here either. Went back to the ASOP terminal, and of course my Harbinger was never stored. Tried to claim it, no dice. Decided to take a break for an hour. I imagined Cloud Imperium techies running from server to server, feverishly trying to fix all my issues.
1 hour later.
Okay, started back up and inventory is working, which is great since I couldn't take my helmet off to drink. Ships were retrievable again, so let's head on over to Hurston and see what the bunker situation is like. If you're looking for more useful and fun information about Star Citizen, make sure to subscribe and like this video. Alright, with that out of the way, I stopped by Evers Harbor to transfer my imprint and pick up a backpack. Looks like I leveled up since I was last here, and I take the eval mission. I take it and fly several hundred kilometers to the bunker. Not really used to having to do that. So far everything is really running well since I hopped back on. Overall the bunker mission went well. The hostiles were somewhat harder to deal with as they kept moving between cover.
Found us some target tracks.
Really nice of them to tell me where the last two dudes are. And with the last one down, I was free to loot. And I got a decent amount, actually. After transferring all of my loot to Ever's Harbor, I see I have a Bounty Hunters Guild certification available, so I take it. And of course it's all the way over at freaking Yella. I know I paid 500 credits for the cert, and yes, I'm gonna waste a perfectly good Stalker missile on this guy. But it's late, and I'm ready to call it a night. I'm not even going to bother with his friends. Overall, I'd say the release went pretty well, all things considered. Either the server I was on initially was having issues, or SIG just needed a little time to get things to settle down a bit. I'm pretty happy with my experience after I logged back in. The missions worked as well as I would expect, and no serious glitches. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Scrapjet out.